All right. Week two, preseason, Dirty 30 podcast. We're back. What's up, boys? How we doing?
We are back.
Golden.
Golden.
Very
All right.
good.
Good. Figured out a few things for our draft. We're gonna be at Eric's place September 1st. We moved our time up to 2 p.m. to help with Rody. That'll be solid. Um, yeah, man. I'm stoked. It's I don't know, like 2.5 weeks away. That's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah,
So quick. Coming up real quick.
Coming up quick. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I prepared more in previous years, but we still got some time. Still got some time.
I was thinking that too. There was a guy at work that was like, "Hey, do you do live drafts?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you like have rankings for them? Like, where do you get that stuff?" So I kind of was like told him like about the Fantasy Pro rankings and like that, simple stuff like that and everything. It's like,
Yeah.
"So are those pretty fun, the live drafts?" I'm like, "Yeah, they're pretty fun."
Oh yeah, dude. Real fun.
Yeah.
Real fun. Today's episode, we're gonna jump on to kind of see what's on Christian's brain here. Talk about Craig's trades last week, and then we're gonna kind of jump through AFC players, players we like, players we dislike, players that are kind of wild cards. Christian, I'll hand the floor over to you. What's been on your brain when it comes to football slash fantasy football?
Mm.
yeah. I think that the big thing, like we've seen a lot of injuries over the last week, and it's just been kind of downing me a little bit. But I'm wondering like how that's going to affect where players are kept or if they're kept. Especially a guy like Jameer Gibbs. Like do you keep him in the second round now? I mean, like, does he go in the first round? Probably. Maybe he goes late. But like, are you really that confident that he's like exceeding that much more value now? Like, and I'm a big Jameer Gibbs fan. Like, if I would have stayed at five, I probably would have drafted him at five, realistically.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
Um, but I just don't. I don't know. Like, I mean, with the hamstring, that he's on a good offense. Like, but there's other guys too. Like with McCarthy being hurt, I know he'll come back. But like, do you trust taking JJ top 3 or 4 with Darnold at quarterback? Like I don't know. Do you like? Um, so I mean, there's just other ones out there too, like McCaffrey. Obviously, he's going to be kept
Yeah.
because. But if Eric, let's say he was available, do you take McCaffrey at number 1, or would you take Hill, or would you take whoever? It's just kind of interesting to see. Like Puka's hurt, you're obviously going to keep him in the sixth,
Yeah.
but it's just kind of interesting. Like all these keepers are kind of getting banged up. So
Yeah. Butthole is a little tight around all those guys. That's for sure.
and
Tis the
that was
season.
week 1. It was week 1 of preseason. Like, and that wasn't even like the dress rehearsal game. Like a lot of these guys are still gonna take a good beating in these next 2 preseason games. So,
For sure.
um,
For
And that's
sure.
just it. There's still so much time, you know. I mean, God forbid you don't obviously don't want anything to happen, but there's still this is just week one of preseason. There's still so much time. We still have a couple more weeks before the draft, and
yeah,
Yeah.
you just
Yeah.
yeah,
it's crazy.
right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, all it takes is one fluke
Mhm.
thing, and you tear an Achilles or whatever. God forbid. But and then also, I'm very curious. I was looking at like kind of mock drafting myself. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I know that Laporta and Kincaid are being kept.
Yep.
So
Yep.
like tight end 1, 2, and then tight end like 6, 7.
Yep.
So it's like, and then quarterbacks. As far as I know, no one's
Nothing.
planning for anybody. So it's like, where did the first dominoes fall with the quarterback, and then how does that like trend, and where does the first tight end go? Like, assuming it's Kelsey, but like, where does Kelsey go? Because do you trust that he's going to be Pat? I mean, he's obviously probably going to be Pat's guy, but with like Hollywood in there, with them drafting Worthy, like, are you going to take Kelsey in the second round? I don't
Uh,
know. I,
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I definitely wouldn't take any tight end available over Kelsey, but like even Josh Allen, it's like what you're getting in round 2 with all the keepers being kept. Who's to say like Allen is not like still the best option available?
Yeah.
No one's gonna take round 2 because I know our fucking league, but like you
Yeah.
just don't, like, if you're sitting
Mm,
there and you're between like if you're sitting there and you're between like Michael Pittman Jr. and Josh Allen, I just don't know. I might take fucking
Yep.
Josh.
Oh,
You know?
I'm with you, man. Like
Yeah.
depending on where these guys go, right? It's like, yeah, it comes a point where you take Josh Allen, right?
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. For sure. It's always weird, right? Like people wait until the 13th round to take a quarterback. People wait until the third, fourth round to take
I
quarterback.
was just gonna say I'd
We're
be
close.
curious, and I don't think our league is like this, but like I'd be curious if there ended up being like a QB run or a tight end run. But I don't think our league really gets in the runs like that, like I've seen in other drafts.
Yeah.
But
Usually
each year is different, but you never know.
the only runs you kind of see are like when you start taking your boys. Like
Right.
like come fifth, sixth, seventh round. It's like once Dev takes whoever, like once I take like Rashid Shaheed, that's when you need to start taking your boys because like you know shit's gonna start rolling. Like
Dude. Oh, for sure.
Fourth round QJ, baby.
Oh, buddy.
Lock it up.
Oh, buddy. We had some activity last week. We were at a standstill for trades for a little
A
while.
little bit.
Pod comes out. Pod has influence, right?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Always.
It's funny. Craig, if you missed last week's episode, Craig had the bottom two ranks, right? In our rank of keepers, right? He originally had Hertz, which was all of our bottoms, and then Bijan at the first, which was like second to bottom. So Craig made 3 trades. I think the day after the pod came out, right? I'll go.
It was within 48 hours.
Oh
for
yeah,
sure.
oh yeah.
Easily.
I'll run through them all. We'll kind of give our quick reactions here. Craig gets Devonta Smith from Marcus. He gives up a 9th and gives up a 9th. Marcus gets a 13th back in return. Craig gets James Cook. He gets Tyler's 8th and 13th for my 7th and Craig's 11th. And they're just kind of a random trade at the end there. Tyler wanted to move up into the 6th round, right? Kind of take Craig's 6th rounder, and he got back a 9th for a 15th. So, sorry, just a swap of 6 rounders. Sorry, I read that wrong. Swap of 6 rounders, move up a couple of spots, and then a 9th for a 15th kind of in return. Any one of those kind of stand out? Anyone you guys want to talk about?
I don't think any of them really stand out at all. No.
No.
I'm being sarcastic. Of course,
Okay.
that
Okay.
last one.
Go ahead, jump in.
No, it's just completely unnecessary. I don't know.
The 6 rounder
just-
swap.
Yeah,
Like I mean, you're talking about like just a ballpark, right? Like you're talking the difference between like fuck. I mean, what? Like maybe I mean you're talking so 6th round. I don't think like Deontay Johnson, like I think he'll go earlier, but you're kind of like Deontay Johnson,
Around
like
there.
Xavier,
Yep.
right? Like Deontay Johnson, Xavier Worthy, or fucking Keon Coleman and God knows who, some
Yeah.
guy I've heard of, you
Yeah.
know, Brett Barrios. Like that's a significant difference. You're talking 8, 9 picks between 50 picks.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, unless my thing is if it happened on draft night and like, you know, you saw your guy there and you're like, I can't hold back. Like I need him. And then you make the trade. That's one thing, but you don't even
100%.
know who's going to be there.
Sure.
that I agree with. Yes.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I'm curious. Like Tyler has to let us know if he gets his guy, right? Like that's number one. We got to know.
He needs to write it down on a piece of paper though first.
He's got to write it down on a piece of paper first, right?
Yep.
For sure.
Yep.
For sure. He's got to let us know. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me, but I mean, yeah, who knows, right? Maybe he like did the math and like has a who knows?
But the funny thing is, it's like so. Like at some point, like if you love him that much, just take him in the fucking early.
Okay.
Just take him around
5th
early.
round. Yeah.
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 But
And like my other,
Especially with this league, you just don't know.
no,
you don't.
You have no idea. The guy he wants could go in the 3rd,
Right.
or something like that. You know, and then it's
Yeah.
like, well, All
I
right.
do. Craig did improve his keepers exponentially, though, for
That's
sure.
what
Totally.
that's what I was gonna say, right?
Yeah,
if we
absolutely.
redid this ranks, right, like Devonta Smith is higher and Cook is much higher, right? Like,
But I'm
and he
also
gave,
very sad about that Smith is not getting thrown back.
yeah,
right.
Very
yep,
sad.
yep. I'm with you. I'm with you. Sounds good, boys. We'll see on draft night if Tyler gets his guy here. AFC players. We're going to talk through players we like, players we dislike, wild card players, which are kind of like swing players, right? They could either like really improve your roster, right? Or they could really like tank your roster, is how I took it at least. Maybe you guys took
Yep.
it.
Yep.
Maybe you guys took it differently, but we'll kind of go through one by one, just kind of like the players we like. I'll go first here. The player I actually like this year, and he is not normally my player, right, is T. Higgins. And I just think he's like finally appropriately priced.
Sure.
He's no longer wide receiver 12, right? He's wide receiver 26 going off the board, right? Like he has like higher upside than that, right? He could definitely finish as like a top 15 wide receiver, or he could like completely tank your season, right? But you're not taking him in the second round anymore. You're taking him in like the fifth, in the sixth, right? Wherever wide receiver 26 goes, right? So he's just kind of someone who stood out. I have him a little bit higher in my own personal rankings, not like too much higher, but someone that I've surprisingly kind of liked this year because previous years I was just kind of like, he's overpriced. But yeah. What do you guys think? Who's your players? What are you guys' thoughts there?
I'll go, but I want to say I agree on T. Higgins because I'm a T. Higgins hater. I really am. Like I've never wanted to own him. I've never owned him. I've never cared to, but I do agree that like we're finally putting T in that tier that he belongs in. Like
Yeah.
he's being thrown out there with like that kind of Mike Evans almost range, like because that's where he kind of was almost. But
Last year.
right,
Yeah.
right. So
Yep.
now he's way lower. So now it's like, okay, it's going to be good value.
Yep.
I was back and forth between a few, but I'm going to go with the one that I stuck with, and it's Joe Mixon. Like Joe Mixon, I know that he kind of has his like boom bust games with like Cincinnati, but now that he's in Houston, they already pretty much showed Damian Pierce they don't give a shit about him last year. and I like Damian Pierce, but like Joe Mixon is a good running back. Like he's a proven good like running back. So, and with the offense they have, I think that he's going to have so many opportunities to score and catch the ball out of the backfield. With him being like outside of the top 12 running backs, I just think that's a massive, massive opportunity to get a guy like that. Like get a guy in that second, third round who could be a top 5, 6 running back in fantasy.
Yeah, man.
Especially in a keeper league.
No notes for me. I love Joe Mixon. Yeah. Debbie, who's your guy? Any words on Higgins or Mixon? What's your thoughts here?
You guys knocked it out of the park with the other two. I completely agree with, Higgins being priced right now. And then, I'll take the L last year on the Mixon hate, but you're right. This offense is going to score, and what an opportunity he's going to have this year. It's going to be a fun offense to watch. So
yeah,
I think, like you said, RB14 right now, whatever, and potential to be up there. So I picked my guy, surprise, surprise, Ramondre, the Ramrod. RB21 right now. I think that people are afraid of that offense.
Yep.
And I think last year was not a very good showing for him. I think he was hurt a little bit, but that offense was hot garbage. And so if people are a little leery this year, I totally get it. But I think, RB21, I think the offense has proved substantially. I think, they got some better pass catchers that will stretch the field. And I think that he's just going to be able to produce more. He was quoted in saying that whoever the new guy is coming in, runs a scheme that he likes with the stretch play or whatever, and if that is indeed true and helps, more of a fit for him, then I'm all on board at that price. And you can
Mhm.
get it, in those later rounds. So
Yeah.
I think he's appropriately priced, right? Someone
Exactly.
on my board, right? I'll probably be fighting you for him here.
You can have,
In 2.5 weeks. So I'm with you, man.
yeah.
Players I dislike. I'm going the guy who took over Joe Mixon's backfield, supposedly, right? I just think Zach Moss is dog shit. Uh, like he's never been good, right? Like he is so
And
far.
don't start for somebody too, like on
Oh,
a rock.
oh yeah,
He
oh
will.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. He'll be played like 10 of the 16 weeks, 10 of the 17 weeks, right? And just like, yeah, you'll realize who Zach Moss is, right? He was terrible in Buffalo. He had 4 weeks last week in like the Colts offense, right? But like, I don't think Zach Moss is very good. And at RB 32, I think he's overpriced, right? Which is kind of like weird to say. I have him a little bit lower, not significantly lower. He just will not be on my team, right? Kind of no matter what, but like yeah, just not a player that I like. So
Just one of those guys that you just gloss right over, just like on to the
mostly,
next one.
yeah, I kind of just like cross off my list. So
I see you there, but it's not happening.
yeah, I just don't think he's very good at football. Christian, Derrick Henry.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Chase Brown's far better, anyways. Like
Me too. Me too.
I was a big like man crush guy on Chase Brown coming out of college, but
Yeah.
my guy that I disliked, and I had him last year, and like it's weird to say this because like a bona fide Hall of Fame player. uh, but Derrick Henry, where he's ranked right now, I do think Derrick Henry is getting over the hill. Like I know he's in a good offense, but I just don't love the situation he's. I know it's crazy to say that you don't love a running back in the situation the Ravens are in because they score so much and they're always by the goal line. But at the same time, I just fucking know Harbaugh, and I've watched this situation every year. There are always, when was the last time Harbaugh had like one running back that he played? Like he's going to shift through Keaton Mitchell and all these other fucking other guys that you don't know about or care about. And Derrick Henry, it's not like he's a 3 down back anymore. He's gonna get the first down, second down plays, maybe. And then like I think where he's going, like somebody might take Derrick Henry in the fucking first round. Like
I think he goes in first.
yeah, I mean like kill me if I do that. Like I don't even have a first round pick. And I'm glad I don't, so I don't have to be tempted to take him because I just don't see the upside of like RB7 or whatever he is. So I don't get it. I don't like it. I mean, could he end up with 12, 13 touchdowns? Sure. But I think he's like a 700-yard guy where you're going to be so touchdown dependent. I don't want to chance that with a round 1 pick.
I respect you for the bold call, and I am going to politely disagree on that one.
Fair.
I have the 11 pick. If Derrick Henry is there, it's like a automatic pick for me. But I'm with you, buddy. I respect it. It's a take. I like it.
Okay, fair enough.
Debbie, what do you got, buddy? Who's the player you dislike in the AFC this year?
And this one pains me, and I hope I get
Another bold call, man.
I hope I get drugged for it.
I feel weak sauce with my Zach Moss pick here, so I appreciate it.
Soft pick guy.
Yeah.
I picked Mark Andrews.
Another Raven.
I know, right? It's perfect.
You guys must really like Zay Flowers this year.
Yeah. I do. Yeah, I just, I've never, the dude's good at football, right? It's just never been a guy that I've been in on. And then the whole thing last year with the injury and everything. And I just, I kind of it's just kind of a gut feeling for me. I just don't really see it happening this year. They have him at tight end 3. I'm just not paying that price. I'm just not in on him. And, he could go off and be the tight end 1. I could totally see that happening, but I just, maybe I'm scared after last year. I don't know, but I just, I have this feeling that he's not going to be that great and going to disappoint a lot of people this year. So on that, I am out and I do not like him.
I like it, man. I think it goes back to like Christian's like what's on my brain though, right? Like where's he go in our draft is kind of like God, I agree. Like a 3rd round sticker price seems like expensive, right? But like 5th round, like maybe I'm in, and it's like who knows, right? Like this
So
league is so unpredictable.
I'm going to ask you guys, when you made these, did you consider value?
Yeah.
Like where they would be drafted?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Because like for me, a dislike player for me was Garrett Wilson, but I couldn't ever pick him because he's being kept so late. Yeah.
Sure.
You're saying like in a normal draft where he's going like right at the end of the 1st round or early
like,
second, you just wouldn't
someone
do
who's going to like underperform.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but if you keep him at a 12th round price or whatever it is, like he's going to exceed that value clearly.
Yeah, and I want to be clear, like you guys picked like much spicier takes, which I like appreciate. My Zach Moss take is like I think he's like on waivers at some point this year.
For sure.
All right, like I'll throw that out there. Like I dislike him that much, but could be wrong. Who knows?
I would agree.
Wild card. Players who can kind of swing our league, right? I have kind of a man crush. I love Ladd McConkey, and like I just think he's like a particular kind of player, right? Who like might fit kind of that Herbert system, that Greg Roman system, and going off at wide receiver 42. I have him slightly higher, not too much higher. But like someone I'm like willing to bet on in a later round that I wouldn't be surprised if like he paid off, right? And he's like a potential like keeper going into next year. Or a guy who's like, oh man, like he's just on my bench and like I'm never playing him, right? Like he could definitely go both ways, right? But yeah, Ladd McConkey was just like the like poster boy for wild card kind of in my brain there.
Absolutely.
Cool. Christian, who you got?
I think that's a solid wild card pick. Like, I don't love Ladd. I mean, I like the situation that he has with a good quarterback, but with the production he had at Georgia, knowing he was on a powerhouse team, I don't know. I could see totally where you're coming from though, of like, if he ends up booming like a Puka, he could win your league, or he could be a guy that kind of rotates in your flex,
Right.
The guy that I chose was also a Texan. And the reason I chose him is because he's so polarizing. Like,
I love this one. Another poster boy for wild card.
Literally, like this guy, we were taken in the 1st round last year. Like literally, Stefon Diggs. So like he was going in the 1st round. Now people are putting him in like the fucking, and I love George Pickens, but like a George Pickens range. It's like, come on, this is Stefon Diggs. Like he's succeeded in Minnesota. He succeeded in Buffalo. He's going to succeed with CJ Stroud. But the only reason I put him as a wild card is because Nico Collins is significantly ahead of him in rankings. And Tank Dell is like CJ Stroud's boy. Like Tank Dell is CJ Stroud's boy. So it's like,
loves him.
How much is he going to get? And if he doesn't get it, how is he going to react? Because like he won in Buffalo. Winning is not on Stefon Diggs' brain. Like, so he could give a fuck less if he wins. He just wants to get his stats and get his money and whatever. And they're going to win, but is he going to get his stats? Because this is the first time he's not like the sole focus number one guy, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wide receiver 5 wouldn't surprise me. Wide receiver 50 wouldn't surprise me. Right? Like he can finish anywhere in that range. Right? He is a wild
He's
card.
where it's great value.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah.
for the talent. So
Yeah. Debbie,
And there's already video out there of him bitching about not getting the ball. I
there
don't know if you
is.
saw that. It's just-
There is.
Jesus. But those are, you guys have great picks. Those are awesome.
I
I'll wrap
was a
this
little
out.
I was a little surprised with yours. I like it.
Think so?
I was a little surprised. Yeah.
Who the hell is this guy? I don't even know what this is. Zamir White. Who are you? Ended the year last year pretty high note and plays for the Raiders, obviously. I just don't really know what the hell. RB22, that's right after Ram, which you put those rankings in after, or not
Yeah,
rankings.
wow.
Were,
Wow.
and God, I don't know. It's just a very polarizing guy in my brain. Is he gonna, keep doing what he, continue what he did at the end of the season last year? Is he just gonna be a total stink? I mean, that offense isn't that great. I don't really know. And depending on where he falls in our draft again, if there's any value there or not. I don't really know what to think of him. So definitely a wild card kind of guy. So I don't know what you guys think. Maybe something different about him, or
I think there was a game last year towards the end of the year where like I had stock against him in like I think he was maybe playing Denver or something. And he fucking went off. And like I just remember sitting there and I'm like, there's no way Zamir White's gonna do well. And like the first series, he like had the first run, it was like 9 yards, and then they took him out for like Bolden or Abdullah or some shit. And then they get to the goal line and it's like touchdown. And then all of a sudden, after that, he was in every fucking play. So it was like, I get it. Like I think Madison will probably squawk a few, but like
I was just gonna say you can look and you can see that Madison's right behind him, and you're like, maybe I don't have to worry too much about this guy.
White is I think he's going I would lean more productive than not. So
I'm intrigued. I still
yes.
don't know. But
Yeah, I like it. I think he's like a good wild card guy. I kind of lean more dislike than wild card, but I mean I think he fits both categories just fine. We have a trash talk of the week. We gotta wrap this up here. We only got a few minutes. Trash talk of the week submission though. We're early this year, which I appreciate. We got Craig already bought 3 keepers this offseason and currently shows no sign of slowing down. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Dude's moving for sure. Next week.
So I have one quick question before we move, and it'll be very quick.
For sure.
Do you think another trade happens this week between the next pod?
I don't. I kind of think we're mostly locked in, unless like a Tyler, like I want this
you
pick.
never know.
Kind of
People might be traded out here.
Sure.
Yeah. You never know. You never
know. That's why this league is so awesome. You never know.
What do you think, Christian? You think it happens?
Kinda. I kinda do. It won't be keepers. Being like the 11th and the 15th round, like I'm very happy. But like I will say, I have for sure inquired about like Rachaad White. Like I'm very intrigued by Rachaad White.
Nice. I dig it. I like it. I like it. Yeah, I mean let's hope we get some more. We're at 12 and counting. So I think our record was 30 a couple years ago. 30
Damn.
sounds about right. So
that crazy.
It is crazy, man. We'll get there. So next week, NFC players we like, dislike. We get to examine Debbie's brain, which will be interesting. Then we'll kind of
empty.
then we'll get into kind of the remaining trades that have already happened. So sounds good, boys. See you next week.
Perfect.